Welcome to Start Before You're Ready, the podcast that proves that you don't need to wait for the perfect moment to begin your journey towards better health and happiness. I'm your host, Kelly Young. Remember, the first step is often the hardest, but it's always worth taking. Hey guys, it's Kelly, and I'm back with another episode of Start Before You're Ready. My guest today is somebody that is going to inspire you for many reasons. He is super fit. He is very health conscious. He's been working out with us for almost, we don't know. We think about 10, maybe 11 years, somewhere in that space. But I have seen him get better, not only with his physical health, but with his mental health. He's really dialed in to personal development, to becoming the best version of himself, helping other people do the same. He's one of my very favorite members. I know you might think I say that a lot, but today I am interviewing Ken, and I hope I say his last name right. I'm not very good with pronunciation. Hostetter. Is that right, Ken?
Hostetter.
Hostetter. Well, I've been saying his name wrong for 10 years. Hostetter. Okay, well, that's easy. Hostetter. I should have had that. Okay, so Ken, go ahead and introduce yourself to our audience and just give us a little tidbit about you.
Sure. Well, thank you, Kelly. That was a great introduction. I didn't know I inspired you so much. That's great.
A lot of people can.
So I'm Ken Hostetter. I'm 58 years of age. I live here in the South Riding community. My wife's name is Kelly. We've got 3 beautiful children, Hudson, Cadence, and Kendall. And next couple of weeks are going to be a little testy because we're sending our daughter off to college. So it's a little tense right now with everything getting ready for that. I'm in the wealth management field. That has been my career for over 3 decades. I love what I do. And a lot of what KBC has taught me over the years is transferring into my own career into all of my conversations.
Wow.
So it's been an amazing journey with you and with KBC for over 10 years. It was pure happenstance, honestly, that I came into KBC's world. I knew of you. I saw it on Facebook. I knew of boot camp communities from where we moved from up in Baltimore. And I knew that I knew in my head that it changed lives. I knew that it changed bodies. I knew it had a lot of impact with people. And I won this gift certificate, if you want to call it that, or a 10 class pack at Lunsford Middle School. It was one of those intro nights before our son was going off to middle school. I was the only bidder.
Hey!
That was it. Zero competition. But that was, Kelly, that was fate. That was all meant to be. I bid on, I know I can speak to this with unbelievable clarity. I know that I bid on that because there was a whisper in my head at that moment that I was off track. I was 100,000% career and of course family. Like I was wrapped up in that world that you see every single day with people that are coming to you for the first time. And it, those early years of whether you're coming into your career, you're raising a family, that's where all your energy goes, right? And Kelly, I was sick and tired of seeing what I saw in the mirror. It was not right. I knew it. Like I was an athlete my entire life. I was a Division II tennis player, tennis captain. Like I did all of that. I ran marathon. I did all the crazy stuff for a long time, and I was not happy. But there was a whisper in my head that night that said, "Sign up for that."
Oh, I do remember. I remember when you first came to us because we were outside. And I think it was probably a Saturday, maybe your first class was probably a Saturday, especially if it was 10 or 11 years ago. That's where most people started. And I don't remember you. I know that your fitness has soared in your journey with us, but I don't remember you being out of shape. Like a lot of my guys come to me and they're really they're deconditioned. They're getting sick. They can't make it through the workout. Especially back then when it was the boot camp.
No, I was.
You were that person. And, okay.
My pant size was definitely about 8 sizes bigger than where I'm at today, where I should have been. There was a couple of times where I felt like, oh my God, am I having an episode? And I was in the ER getting all measured up. No, I was. Maybe the clothes hit it, but.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I am so happy that you were the lucky winner of the 10 class pack back 10 plus years ago, because your journey has been really outstanding. And I've learned a lot from you too, Ken. So, and I know what you shared about your family and your career. I think that's outstanding. I know you're an incredible family man. And I also love that you found space to take care of you, because now as your daughter's going up to school and as your kids are getting older, and it's going to be so much more important that you have your health. So you've already got that under control. You're not trying to backtrack. I mean, we have people join us in our 50s and 60s and have great results, but the fact that we got you a little bit earlier is certainly helpful. What would you say, Ken, the most valuable lesson you've learned from KBC since you started?
So prior to KBC, the way I would describe my fitness regimen was just, I was a weekend warrior, right? There was no scheduled planning. It was just, I felt like if I went out and I ran 5 miles, that was good enough. I could eat what I wanted to eat. I could do whatever I needed to do the rest of the week. And that was it. It would be, rinse and repeat. Here comes next Saturday, and off I go out into the running world. So I would say definitely the variety of how I approach every single week as far as my structure, Kelly. It's I want a certain number of strength classes. Lately, I've needed to modify my cardio a little bit. I've got some knee issues I'm working through. So, but anyway, the point of me mentioning this is it gives me a plan. That's number one. It gives me the variety that I need. I want to maintain what I've built. That's number one. Number two would be nutrition. My game changer with you all and the KBC team was my first winter challenge. That was it. Because at that time I think I might have been doing 2 or 3 workouts a week. That felt like that was a big deal. But that winter challenge, like you're on that team, you've got the higher level of accountability. You've got a lot of things going on. And I didn't know this, but I said to myself, okay, everyone's losing weight. Everyone's gaining muscle. Mm-hmm. I need to really hunker down on what it is that I'm doing. So that was my start with, so I started with KBC. I was working out, but that was my start into the nutrition end of what you and your community preach. So, I mean, it doesn't end. Like even to this day, every Sunday, part of my regimen, I'm not perfect at this, but I probably get a B+ at this, is I am meal prepping on Sunday. It's all lined up. It's all stacked up in the refrigerator. My son comes here for lunches, so I make enough for him, he and I. The PFF is your BFF slogan. I can't tell you how many times I have shared that with people who I work with. For instance, like when you go out for a business luncheon or a dinner, everyone knows I never ordered dessert. And then that always sort of opens up the door to the conversation of what I've done over the past, several years and how I approach nutrition.
Yeah. So let's talk about the InBody a little bit. So I think when you first did the winter challenge, it probably wasn't even the InBody. It was probably the Omron, which is a handheld bioelectrical impedance device that is accurate for measuring change, I would say. I'd be curious to know like where everyone's was compared to the InBody. But since we got the InBody in 2017, I know that you've used that as a tool for motivation and for education. Can you talk a little bit about that, Ken?
Absolutely. So there's nothing better than seeing results, written results. Having a written plan, but also seeing written results. So yeah, I probably have it right over there, but my very first InBody was okay. Like it. Yeah. I remember Amy Byer was there for me when I did my first one. I remember her saying, or maybe it was you, but it was that D, the letter D shape. Like that's what you want to get to, and it certainly was, but that set me on a course to go to another level. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I want to say maybe it was another year or two after that. It was a June weigh-in, and that was my best. And I have always tried to repeat that.
Chasing that, I know exactly that number.
Wish I could remember what it is everything that I did, but it was 11% body fat. It was strong. It was just strong. It was a strong D. What I love about that, Kelly, is that it's another level of accountability. No different than anything else in life. When you see the results of your plan in print, right? Like there's no denying that. Like numbers tell.
And you're a numbers guy, so.
I'm a numbers guy, right?
Yeah. I like numbers. That's awesome. So just to reference what Ken's talking about with the D, one of the things that the InBody does is it kind of creates almost like a diagram of your ratio of your weight to your body fat to your skeletal muscle mass. And not to take away from Ken's D because it's amazing, but a lot of my men will be Ds even when their body fat's not in a good spot because they have so much muscle. So their skeletal muscle mass will go out for far, but they're not where they want to be as far as percentage of body fat or, you know, the actual percentage. But they do have a lot of muscle, which, while we're talking about it, is why us women get so mad that men seem to be able to make changes so much faster than we do. It's because they have more muscle. They're more metabolic. They just have more muscle. So they're starting out with, and not all men. I mean, if it's partly genetic, it's partly your life history, right? You were a college athlete. You had worked out for a long time. What I do like about the InBody, it doesn't really just reflect your last 6 months of eating. It reflects really your entire life. So to get that skeletal muscle mass up takes time. It takes time. And you can't be on a diet, right? That's the other thing about men. Men tend not to diet. They tend not to do what women do, which is undereat sometimes. So they don't lose that skeletal muscle mass as often. That's a very generic statement. I probably shouldn't have said that. But just to give you some ideas about the InBody and what it can tell us. So Ken was a D before, but I know that his D that he is now is totally different because he's lost so much fat. He had the muscle before, but now he's lost the fat.
And I would say to anybody, whether you're male or female, but accept imperfection. Things are never going to be perfect, right? So, right, it's fine to say, okay, I love that shape of that on the InBody, and I like what I see, and that's really what's most important. If you are happy and content with what you see in front of you in the mirror, seriously, don't go for absolute perfection. You'll drive yourself nuts, right?
Absolutely. And I think another really important thing to say is, because some people might be listening to this and be like, what are they talking about, D? I would say 70% of my women that I get on there, I don't even talk about the D because they're not going to get it. They're just not going to get it. I just want them to be a smaller C. Right? So whatever it is, we're just trying to get better from where we are right now. Again, genetics play, height, some of my more petite people, it's just, it doesn't matter. You cannot compare Ken to Kelly. You can't compare Ken to Mo. You can't compare people to people. You just have to look at your own numbers and try to beat your own numbers, which is exactly what you did. So I love that.
That's all I do. That's all I do at this point. In the beginning, honestly, it was a little bit of a race. That's maybe how I got to that one June of 23 result. Maybe that's it. But, at this point, it's about maintaining. And I do have I'm 58 years old, right? And in 2 years, I will be 60. So I am starting to think about, I know that you do a wonderful job of at the start of each month saying, okay, what's this month's upcoming goal for you? And I will continue to do that. And share that. But now I'm thinking, like, what's my goal at age 60? Like, what is that? What do I want to get? So I'm starting to map that out.
That's really good. So you talked about how you made the body composition changes and nutrition was your game changer, and you talked about meal prep. What else could you share from your arsenal of what you've learned about how to eat and and obviously not having desserts can help, but I'd love to hear more.
Sure. Well, on the nutrition front, I'm far from perfect. So I would say my breakfasts and my lunches are, if you had to put a grade to it, it's probably a B plus.
Okay.
And dinner's okay. I mean, I'm never doing anything wrong, but it's that after dinner period that my temptation is for sweets is pretty strong. for some reason
Me too.
in the late evening. It just is. I cope with it. A cup of coffee solves it for me for some reason. It just puts it out.
Oh yeah, that's good. That's a good technique. I mean, I don't know. Can you have caffeinated coffee and go to bed?
It doesn't affect my sleep.
Andrew's like that too. I can't have caffeine later in the day, but that is like it's a way to tell your body like this is you're done. So it's like kind of like a finisher. It's actually a really good idea. I do it with tea, hot tea. But yeah, that's really good, Ken.
Yeah, I would say the other thing too is, we talk about planning and mapping out our roadmap to a better health, better lifestyle, body changes and everything. What I've come to realize is that you really do want to start with the end in mind. Like, what do you want to achieve? Is it body loss or body weight loss? Is it muscle gain? Is it things like that? And stick to your plan, but stay focused, right? It's okay to miss a day or to miss a couple of days. What life happens, but I subscribe to this in my career too. But start with the end in mind, and know that, and try to develop the best that you can, your steps to get to where you want to be. And know that it's an evolution. It's never going to stop, right?
It's never over.
Right. Like right now I'm thinking in 2 years, I'm going to be 60. What do I want to do? So I'm probably going to evolve and do something, extra or do something different. I through my injury with my knee, I've started to like Pilates, ankle weighted Pilates. I like it. It's easier on.
That's amazing, Ken. It's so good. It's so good to be
ready to adapt,
to cross train and to have those different disciplines and and that's what I'm most proud of as a community is that when somebody, somebody maybe that likes to do a lot of cardio and that's not on their list for right now. Oh, well, I can pop into this Pilates class or I can do a core fusion class. And so that's so great. And you are I'm glad you mentioned it, Ken, because you're such a good example of being just putting yourself in any situation where you think you're going to see improvement. And you've mentioned that to me before about you. I know Jess has encouraged the students to use ankle weights in some of the classes. And you've mentioned that you felt like that was a game changer.
It's an absolute game changer in so many ways. You can flip them onto your wrists.
Yep.
And help out with your arm. Like there's a lot of value to it.
Yeah. 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 I love your open-mindedness, Ken. I think that's one thing that has really served you in your journey, that you are open, you're growth-minded and you're open-minded. And I think that's not to stereotype, but especially for men, and we do, I think that one of the things about the men in our community is, they had to put themselves out there to come to class right in the beginning, no matter whether it was a boot camp or a yoga or whatever. It's like, not every guy's cup of tea. We tend to attract guys that have been on sports teams because they miss the concept of being on a team. So they have that kind of team-minded perspective, just being comfortable enough to be like, to do any format. I think that it speaks to your confidence. So one of the things that you also do, and I'm curious if you're still doing it with injury and not being able to do cardio, but you've also really taken advantage, at least in the earlier years, of the My Zone.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. That was another game changer for me too. Like that's another level of accountability.
Yes, I know it was for you. Yeah.
I always hit the button whenever you got the monthly challenge. I don't necessarily look at that all the time.
I know. I don't either.
But to me, that's another level of accountability that I like to put in. Hey, strength or Pilates, or I ran 5 miles or whatever.
They started to do that, Ken. They started to do that. They had this whole thing that they were going to do with a metric. I'm glad they didn't, because your heart rate's your heart rate. But they were going to maybe give you more points for strength. I don't know. It was something. But just to go back, Ken, explain to our audience what the My Zone is.
Yeah. So My Zone is a heart rate monitor, right? I guess it comes in 2 forms. The one that I've always used, and I think the one that you promote in your community, is the chest strap, and it measures. It's chest measuring heartbeat. It's measuring effort. I think the E in MEP stands for effort, right? Measuring.
Yep, exactly.
And it's a measure each month of and every day of what each workout translates to. I think it's good not only for the measuring end of things, but I know that I don't want to walk away from a workout with anything less than 100 reps. That's in my head. Does that happen?
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure today's workout
It's true.
probably
Today
50.
you probably didn't get 100 reps.
There are days when I do your strength class, Kelly, and I'll come out of that with 50 reps. But I know that I want to complement the workout with a quick little run walk interval thing. So I'll get to my 100. That'll be my next 30-minute goal before I need to head off to work, is to just get to 100 and complement the work that I did in your class. So I love my zone. I wish it was more universally used in other areas. That way you could measure and compare more often. But I love the fact that your studio has it. I think it's
I'm really, it's helped. It actually surprises me how much it helps people. And actually, going back to men, it seems to be particularly motivating for some of our men, because they don't, like, I'll see them at the end of the month do, but cramming and getting their reps in because they don't want to lose their status. And honestly, it promotes just like the InBody. And why I like it, because I don't like competition. Like, I know some people go crazy with it and they really want to be at the number one or whatever. I'm not. Like, I'm usually like somewhere in the teens, which that's fine. I'm not like, I want my consistency from my perspective. Like, I don't want to dip a ton. It helps me, like, when I'm traveling, because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm away for a week. I can't get no reps. I better do a couple things. One of the things that I like about it is that all of your workouts count, right? So as Ken mentioned, it's not just like what we do in class. If Ken wants to go for a walk jog after class and earn some more reps, he can. If he's, out on a bike ride, he can earn reps. If he's playing tennis, he can earn reps. So that's what's really cool about it. It's not just the workouts that we do at KBC. It's all of your workouts, and it tracks everything. So, like, I'm terrible at tracking. Like, I would say, like, some people are great at keeping calendars and they know every workout they've ever done and they write everything down and they have journals and logs. That's not me. But if I needed to look at my history of workouts, I would just go to my zone. It's all right there. The amount of time I spent.
I forgot about that part where there's a monthly, sort of, call it a minimum. I forget what my number is, but yeah, that comes to me.
You've done it. I think you've done it because I think you're a rock star or something.
Well, yeah, yes, but it's also kept me on track too. Like, this month in particular, we've had 2 vacations. We did our Hilton Head thing, and then we just came back from a cruise, and I knew that I would be challenged to keep up and to get. So for me, that's another bonus of using that kind of accountability.
Yeah. And I like what you said too, a lot about, like, the reps, because that's where I got a little frustrated with it. I saw some people, like, not wanting to do strength classes or not wanting to do Pilates because they're not going to get reps. I'm like, no, you need to spend time in all the colors. You need to be gray. You need to be blue. You need to be green. You need to a little bit of yellow and red. You don't want all your yellow and red. So I think it's also an educational tool in that situation where we can teach our members, like, this is the spectrum. You want to train your heart at different intensities. That's actually better than just going hard all the time. Zone 2 had a big moment with just being a trend. So I think people got a little more excited about being in the blue when Zone 2 had that little moment. I don't know if it's still going on.
It's an evolution, Kelly. Like, there was a time I was crazy about the maps. Like, I remember July of the COVID July. I had 9,000 maps, and it was just.
Oh my gosh. You must have been running or doing tennis.
It was insane. I was running, and it was this and that. But
yeah.
I have come to the realization that it's, for me now, it's maintenance, and I don't need the map. I don't need 6, 7, 8, 9,000 maps to get where I want to go. It would be too much. It'd be way too much.
And one of the things that you mentioned about earlier is the biggest change that you've noticed in yourself mentally is not getting in your head so much. I'd love for you to talk more about that.
Yeah, confidence. I would put it into the category of confidence. I shared earlier that prior to KBC, I was 1,000% all about career, family, of course, but I was just so laser focused on just doing what I needed to do to provide for my family. And so I was pretty much a hard go-getter at work. I did all the right things at all times. With my working out and the transformation that I've had within literally everything within my body, within my overall physical health, I have noticed that over the past, call it the 10 years that I've been with you, that my confidence at the workplace is at a whole other level, like completely whole other level. I operate in the world of wealth management, but in a smaller segment that's really working with very affluent to very ultra high net worth type families. And it's very complicated. There's lots of twists and turns and lots of complicated language going on. But at the end of the day, they're no different than your members, Kelly. They just want to understand what decisions that they think that they need to make. The moment that I've been having for many years, ever since all of this has changed for me in my life, is I have completely changed the way that I communicate with my families. It's much more about confidence. It's much more about clarity that they need, bringing that conversation down to something that they can understand. This is parallel to the work that you're doing in your fitness community. Like your community and my community tell us over and over again, you can just do this yourself, right? It's easy, right? And it's not. It's it is complex.
Oh, yes. People say like, I know what to do. Right. Yeah.
Or
yeah. I hate when people
or
say that.
Or they push off decision making, and they don't seek a team. They don't seek accountability, but there's whispers in their heads, just like I had 10 years ago that said, this isn't right. I need help. Right. But for me, it's transformed me in my especially in my business career, for sure.
Well, one of the sayings, I don't know if I know we've talked about the saying before, and I don't know if it came from Todd or if it came from, but your health account, right? You've talked about that, and your wealth account and your health account.
That is amazing. So Todd Durkin, who you introduced me and countless others to, has been an amazing influence to me. He really has. I know I'm just a podcast listener, and we trade a couple messages back and forth, but to me, he's had an impact on me. He really has. And he has coined the phrase not only on his podcast, but I think it's in his books a couple times too, of Jack LaLanne, right? The fitness guru Jack LaLanne from the 50s and 60s. Who I remember as a kid. I remember my mom doing squats in the family room, and I was little. But so Jack LaLanne, back in his day, coined this phrase that your health account and your wealth account, they're the same. And when I heard that for the first time, I would have never known that because I was just a little kid. I didn't pay attention to things like that. But when I heard that, I was like, damn, that's spot on. The way I break that down, and that's Renaissance. Someone back in the 50s and 60s knew that there was a connection between the two. And the connection there is it's prosperity, it's lifestyle, both the health end of things and the wealth management end of things have something to do with prosperity and lifestyle, right? They're probably the single biggest influencers into those worlds. So to me, that's a game changer. It comes out in my conversations. I view the conversations that I have today more as a business coach. More of my conversations are more coaching-like to help people understand what people need. So when I think about your podcast, it's called Start Before You're Ready. When you start at that starting point, a lot of people, both people in both of our industries don't know how to get started. They don't know when to get started. They say, I'll do it after Christmas. I'll do it after this. I'll do it after that. So there's a parallel. The second thing that I think of too, of how these two worlds are connected, is when you have a client for the first time, you're getting to know what's their goal, right? And you map out, you and your team, you map out a plan. You get Amy plugged in on the nutrition end of things. Like you build out a plan for them that they can follow, and I do the same thing on my side. I want to start with, where do you want this to go for you, right? We live in a awesomely affluent area, county, right? There's a lot of wealth here, but there's a lot of folks that have a lot of questions. They don't know how to really manage what they've got. It feels right to be having wonderful income and everything that surrounds it. But if you're not managing it, just like your health, you can get off course before you know it.
Well, you mentioned start before you're ready. Is there a time in your life that you feel like you started before you were ready?
Oh, yeah. I might flip that a little bit. I would say a lot of the things that have been really incredible for me in my life have been at times when I just trusted my gut. Right. And I started, well, okay. So, and I started something before I thought I didn't even know I was ready for.
Yeah.
So, things like how Kelly and I met was complete fate, right? I signed up for a marathon, never ran a marathon. So I had to start training for a marathon. So that's a whole story. So that's one thing. There's other times inside of my career where I said yes. Like I'm a big believer in lead with yes, say yes first. And if it's ultimately a no, then there's always a way to back out. But I've said yes a couple of times within the body of my career where it has vaulted me. Like it has. We took on, we moved overseas for a year, said yes to that. And that was a game changer. So I think my best answer to that question is trust your gut, right? Right. When something is saying, get going, take this, doesn't matter if you're ready, if you're not, just go for it. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. And I love the example with Kelly. I know exactly where you're going with that. It's like, why did I sign up for this? Oh, because I'm supposed to meet my wife here. So it I just love that. That's awesome, Ken. Good. What do you think? What's one tip you would give somebody if they wanted to become a healthier version of themselves? If they're starting from a point of poor health or whatever point they're starting from, what would you say? Just do this.
Plan. Map out a plan. There's nothing stronger than a written plan, Kelly. You know that. There's nothing stronger than a written plan. Or even if it's not, well, it should be written, but in the event that it's not, have someone there to hold you accountable. At least tell somebody, right? At least tell somebody. Don't expect perfection. Don't ever expect perfection. It might feel like you need to. Everybody compares, right? We all compare, but don't expect it.
That's really good. When people come to me initially to meet, if they were looking for solace, sometimes they want to be all in, and I just say, let's pick 3 things. And the first one is consistency with workouts, whatever they can keep doing. Like, how many workouts should I do? Well, how many can you keep doing? Is it 2 to 3? Usually the other ones are really simple, like water goal or a protein goal, like 3 really simple things. But as you said, it's something tangible, written down, it's a plan. And then after the month, if they feel like, okay, I'm really nailing these things, we can put a little something extra in there. But it doesn't need to be everything at once. I find when people do everything at once, they go back to doing nothing. And you've kind of used the B+ analogy a lot. And I have my version of that, which is ish. Like, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect with my nutrition. I like to indulge in things that I know are not healthy at some points in my life. And I do that. And I'm okay with that because I like the 80%. So like, the B+, yeah, 85% is a little better. So I'm right on board with that B+ mentality, because I think if you try to be an A+ all the time, you end up going back to being an F.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Right. Yeah.
It is. It's definitely about consistency. And you mentioned that too, that just, being consistent is really the key. If you could ask me any question, Ken, so as you know, I like to use this podcast as a platform for education. And maybe there's something you were thinking about that you're like, oh, I should ask Kelly about this, or something that you feel like would benefit our audience. Is there anything that you would like to ask?
Sure. If it wasn't KBC, what would you be doing?
Huh. Wow. It wasn't supposed to be that kind of question. It's supposed to be about health and fitness.
I think about that.
Oh, that's a great question. And I think about that sometimes. Definitely something that has people involved. People light me up. I love stories. I love anything. I love growth. I love any time where people are passionate about getting better, whether it be with their fitness, with their health, with their relationships. Just the idea of getting better is really, really exciting to me. I also love food. So I think I would hate it if I had a career in the food space, but I just think food is beautiful, and I love preparing food, and I really love food. So I've thought before, I could do something in that space. And this, being a podcast host, is something that I definitely dreamed about. When I went to school a lot of years ago, I did want to be Oprah. That was what I said. And it wasn't because Oprah was famous or rich or beautiful. It was nothing to do with anything like that. It was really just I felt like she helped people. When I was a little girl, I watched her. I was probably 8 or 9 years old. My parents were getting divorced, and I would watch her talk to all the people on the show. And I felt like she solved their problems. And I'm like, she's such a light for people. She gives hope. She gives answers. And I'm like, I want to do that. That's what I wanted to do. It wasn't so much on a show. It was more just, I wanted to be Oprah and give people that hope and give people that. So that's a long answer to a question. Yeah, I definitely think I'm in the right space, and the platform of fitness is natural for me. That's probably the most natural. But if tomorrow I couldn't be a fitness instructor, I would like to do it just more on a coaching level, I think.
Well, you and I have a lot in common. In my industry, from time to time, we always have these personality tests to see what our strengths are. And there's one that is routinely brought up every so often. And my number one strength, it never, ever changes, is significance. So I'm the exact same way. I want my audience, who's different than yours, I want my audience to say, wow, that guy he's amazing. He has transformed, our wealth, our management of our wealth, our family, everybody. So I'm a lot like yourself. And I know that's a trait that we share.
Oh, well, I love that. I love that, Ken. It has been so fun to talk to you. And I know that what your message is going to be inspiring. I'm going to share. I said I don't remember Ken being out of shape, but I have a before and after of him where he was not in shape.
I wasn't.
So I'm going to share that. So people don't see, because I think, Ken, a lot of times someone will see somebody like you and just think, oh, he's always had himself together. He just loves to work out. It's easy for him. It's just, and I think people think that about a lot of people in our community, but we all have our struggles, and we're constantly a work in progress. And we need things like My Zone and the In Body and challenges and things to keep us accountable. We're no different than anybody else. We need those layers, and that's, what we do. But we don't tell people to come in and say, do this, this, and this. We slowly kind of pepper in, well, maybe you should try this or add this to your routine. So you're just a really great example of that, Ken. And I know I speak for our entire community when I say that you're an incredible inspiration. You're just a great guy. You're just someone. Oh, one thing I wanted to share about you. I think I'm allowed to share this. A fun fact about Ken. I thought he might slip it in, but this will tell you a lot about him. He is the school. Am I allowed to say it?
Oh yeah, you can. Yeah. I wasn't sure where you were going to go.
Okay, good. I say we can cut this out. He is the school mascot for Freedom for his just now you have two girls still.
One.
Well, now
Yes,
one, right?
correct.
Run. But last year it was and did they not know you were the mascot?
So no, they did not until senior night. That was my reveal.
Oh my God, that's like the best thing ever. Any of you young parents listening,
Even just thinking
this.
about that still gets to me. So it's like,
they'll remember that for the rest of their lives.
It was a moment. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that, Ken. That's amazing. This has been an incredible podcast. Thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank
I know
you.
you're super
Thanks
busy
for asking.
making time for us, and I can't wait to share this episode. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Start Before You're Ready. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share with a friend who might need a little motivation. Ready to start your own journey? Check out our workouts and nutrition coaching programs at kellysbootcamp.net. You can choose from in-person sessions or virtual programs. Set up a complimentary coaching session to get started. Follow along with me and the show on social media at Kellys_bootcamp. Until next time, this is Kelly Young reminding you that the best time to start is always now.